everybody. Yesterday we talked about going shopping in our pantry, so I saved this box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch and I have all this other things. We watched that fabulous video of Bjork Engels, and he talked about Minecraft, and he said instead it should be WORLDCRAFT. And so in an effort for you guys to think out of the box, we're going to think with boxes. And you were probably watching some YouTube channels that I had shared with you, and Frank Geary's master class came up, and if you noticed, he had actually those beautiful wooden blocks in the background that he was using. And so we get to play like we're kids all over again. And I want you to think about what you can make out of your boxes that might be translated into a house. So think about each one of these boxes maybe being like a floor in a house. So if I start to stack these, right, this would just be kind of like an apartment building in the city, right? But if I wanted to turn this into something really interesting, like if this was Franklin Lloyd Wright's Falling Water, it might look something more like this, or like this. And then we start to think about how is this held up? Is there something here? So what I want you to do is I want you to play around with whatever things you have around the house that can emulate a structure. And that's your goal. And I want you to do this 3 different ways. And each time you set it up, you're going to take a picture of it. So imagine that if this is a house, we talked about how many rooms we needed, what kind of rooms we needed. You know, maybe this here connects, and my bonus room for me would be an art studio. And maybe this is all windows, and this is like this open, beautiful A-frame structure. And then we walk through, and if this is, you know, depending on where the house is, if the house is in the mountains or overlooking the water, maybe my living space is on the top floor, not on the bottom floor. So maybe the bottom floor is bedrooms. And then as you make your way up, this is actually the main living area, the living room. And then I'm going to show you guys how to do sketches from this. But step 1, get your boxes, set them up 3 different ways, take 3 different pictures. What I want you to do is I want you to take a picture straight on, and I will show you in the video what that looks like, because I'm going to take my own pictures and share them with you. And so this is my first structure for my house. Since we are drawing elevations, I want you to take the photo straight on, right? Because just like we've been looking at floor plans with those elevations in the beginning of class, elevations do not have any perspective. They're straight on because they're directions for the builder, and we talked about that in class. Okay, so go shopping in your kitchen pantries. Ask your parents first before you start pulling stuff out. Maybe you can take the bags out of the cereal boxes and put them in a safe place. And if you could find interesting shapes like this, even better. So have fun, and I will see you in a little bit. Bye. The other thing I want to talk about before you get started on this project is the idea of repetition. That was one of the things you explored when you were doing your research. So take a look at the boxes I selected. I was fortunate enough to have multiple boxes of Tazo iced lemongrass green tea because I shopped on Amazon. So if anyone in your house shops on Amazon or Costco or one of those places, the likelihood of you having multiple packages of the same thing is high. If you don't, just try to find things that are similar in size and shape. Because when you look at architecture, a lot of times you're going to see that there is going to be unique pieces, and then there's going to be repetition. So you can see how if I line these up, this starts to create a unified look because these are all similar shapes, and you want to look for something like that. And by default, I mean, working with the boxes, they are all of similar shapes because they are 4-sided faces with sides. So they will have some unity, but if you can have the exact same size, see how this kind of frames it out, it has a nice look to it, and then repeating that idea. So if I did something like this, This is kind of interesting, creates an open space underneath. I can see this being a little patio underneath. On each side here, these can even be terraces if I wanted to put doors going out. So this creates an interesting structure. And then I have other boxes that are similar in size and shape. I have these two that are similar. I personally like when you can work in threes, perhaps something like this, where they're all lined up nice and symmetrical, especially if you're into modern architecture. You'll see a lot of that. So play around with shapes and sizes and definitely see if you can find things that are the same, so you can explore the concept, this design concept of repetition and how it creates unity. The other way you can create unity is when we start sketching out the fronts of the houses in terms of their windows. Those shapes and sizes will connect to each other, and then of course the materials, which we've spoken about before. So try to get multiple things and have fun with it. Remember, you used to play with blocks when you were a kid. It's like riding a bike. It'll all come back to you. Have fun, and I'll see you later. Bye. Here is photo number 1. You can see this is straight on, so that I'm seeing the faces of those boxes, because when we draw these elevations, that is what you're going to be focused on. Here is photo 2 from the side. Again, you want to try to get the surfaces of those boxes as flat as possible.